The year is 1590, a time of exploration, ambition, and the relentless pursuit of new worlds. The European powers are vying for dominance, and the New World is a tantalizing prize. A ship approaches the shores of Roanoke Island, a sliver of land off the coast of what is now North Carolina. This island, with its dense forests and untamed wilderness, holds the promise of a new beginning for many. On board, John White, governor of the Roanoke colony, eagerly anticipates reuniting with his family and fellow colonists. His heart races with a mix of excitement and apprehension. He had left them 3 years prior, a world away in England, to gather supplies and support for the fledgling settlement. England, with its bustling streets and political intrigue, had been a stark contrast to the wild, untamed land of Roanoke. White had faced numerous challenges in securing the necessary resources, but his determination never wavered. As the ship draws closer, an unsettling silence hangs in the air. The usual sounds of a bustling colony, the chatter of settlers, the clanging of tools, the laughter of children, are conspicuously absent. The familiar sights and sounds of a thriving colony are absent. Instead, the island seems eerily still, as if time itself has paused. The once vibrant settlement now appears ghostly and abandoned. Landing on the deserted shore, White is met with an eerie scene: empty houses, overgrown fields, and a single chilling clue, the word CROATOAN carved into a post. This cryptic message is the only hint left behind by the vanished colonists. This is the story of the Lost Colony of Roanoke, one of history's most enduring mysteries. A tale that has puzzled historians, archaeologists, and enthusiasts for centuries. The disappearance of the Roanoke colonists has captivated imaginations for centuries. Scholars and storytellers alike have pondered the fate of these early settlers, weaving countless theories and narratives. What became of the men, women, and children who vanished without a trace? Did they integrate with nearby Native American tribes, or did they fall victim to the harsh realities of colonial life? Was their fate a result of disease, starvation, conflict with Native Americans, or some other unknown force? Each theory brings with it a new layer of intrigue and speculation. The answers remain elusive, lost to time and shrouded in speculation. Despite numerous expeditions and investigations, the true story of the lost colony remains hidden in the mists of history. Join us as we delve into the history of the Roanoke colony, exploring the events that led to its establishment, the challenges it faced, and the theories surrounding its mysterious demise. From the initial hopes and dreams of the settlers to the haunting silence that greeted John White, we will uncover the layers of this enigmatic tale. The story begins with the initial landing of the Roanoke settlers, a group of brave men, women, and children who ventured into the unknown with hopes of building a new life. Their journey was fraught with peril, from treacherous seas to the challenges of establishing a colony in an unfamiliar land. The settlers' interactions with the Native American tribes were complex and multifaceted. While some tribes were friendly and offered assistance, others viewed the newcomers with suspicion and hostility. These relationships would play a crucial role in the fate of the colony. Daily life in the Roanoke colony was a constant struggle for survival. The settlers faced numerous challenges, from securing food and shelter to dealing with illness and internal conflicts. Despite these hardships, they remained determined to build a thriving community. When John White departed for England in 1587, he left behind a colony that was still in its infancy. His departure was driven by the urgent need for supplies and reinforcements, but it also marked the beginning of a long and anxious wait for those he left behind. Upon his return in 1590, White's worst fears were realized. The colony was deserted, and the only clue to the settlers' fate was the enigmatic word CROATOAN. This discovery set off a wave of speculation and search efforts, but the mystery only deepened. Over the years, numerous search efforts and expeditions have been launched to uncover the fate of the Roanoke colonists. Each new discovery, from artifacts to historical documents, has added pieces to the puzzle, but the complete picture remains elusive. Today, modern-day archaeologists and historians continue to study the Roanoke mystery, using advanced technology and research methods to uncover new clues. Their work is a testament to the enduring fascination with this historical enigma. The legacy of the Lost Colony of Roanoke lives on, not just as a historical mystery, but as a symbol of the human spirit's resilience and determination. The story of these early settlers serves as a reminder of the challenges and triumphs of those who dared to venture into the unknown, As we continue to explore and uncover the past, the story of the Lost Colony of Roanoke remains a poignant chapter in the history of exploration and colonization. It is a tale that invites us to reflect on the complexities of human endeavor and the enduring quest for answers. The story of Roanoke begins in the late 16th century, a time of great exploration and expansion for European powers. This era was marked by a fervent race among European nations to explore uncharted territories, establish colonies, and expand their influence across the globe. The New World, as the Americas were known, presented a vast and mysterious land full of potential riches and opportunities. For England, this was a chance to compete with other European powers, particularly Spain, which had already established a strong presence in the Americas. England, eager to establish a foothold in the New World, set its sights on the shores of North America. The English crown saw the establishment of colonies as a way to expand its empire, increase its wealth, and spread its influence. The journey across the Atlantic was perilous, with rough seas, unpredictable weather, and the constant threat of attacks from rival nations or pirates. Despite these dangers, the promise of new land and the potential for wealth drove many to take the risk.
Sir Walter Raleigh, a favorite of Queen Elizabeth I, secured a charter to establish a colony in the New World. Raleigh was a visionary and an adventurer, deeply committed to expanding England's reach. He believed that establishing a colony in North America would not only bring wealth to England, but also provide a strategic base for further exploration and military operations against Spain. Queen Elizabeth, recognizing the potential benefits, granted Raleigh the authority to explore and colonize any land not already claimed by a Christian monarch. Raleigh envisioned a colony that would serve as a base for trade, exploration, and a challenge to Spanish dominance in the region. He saw the colony as a way to establish a permanent English presence in the New World, which would facilitate trade with the native populations and other European settlers. Additionally, the colony could serve as a launching point for further expeditions into the interior of the continent, potentially uncovering new resources and opportunities for expansion.
In 1585, the first group of English colonists, over 100 strong, landed on Roanoke Island. These colonists were a mix of soldiers, craftsmen, and laborers, all eager to start a new life in the New World. They brought with them supplies, tools, and hopes for a prosperous future. Roanoke Island, located off the coast of present-day North Carolina, was chosen for its strategic location and the belief that it would be a suitable place for settlement. Led by Ralph Lane, the colonists faced numerous challenges from the outset. The journey had been long and arduous, and upon arrival, they found that the land was not as fertile as they had hoped. The colonists had to quickly adapt to their new environment, learning to grow crops and build shelters. They also had to establish relations with the native Algonquin tribes, who were initially wary of the newcomers. Communication was difficult, and misunderstandings were common, leading to tensions between the two groups. The land proved less fertile than expected, and relations with the native Algonquin tribes were strained. The colonists struggled to grow enough food to sustain themselves, and their supplies quickly dwindled. The harsh conditions, including extreme weather and the threat of disease, made life on Roanoke Island incredibly difficult. The colonists' morale began to wane as they faced the reality of their situation. They had hoped for a land of plenty, but instead they found themselves in a constant struggle for survival. The harsh conditions, dwindling supplies, and the constant threat of conflict took their toll on the colonists' morale. The initial excitement and optimism gave way to fear and desperation. The colonists were isolated, far from home, and with little hope of immediate relief. The threat of conflict with the native tribes loomed large as tensions continued to rise. The colonists were in a precarious position, struggling to maintain their foothold in the New World. When Sir Francis Drake arrived at Roanoke in 1586, offering passage back to England, the weary colonists abandoned the settlement and returned home. Drake's arrival was a lifeline for the struggling colonists. He had been on a successful expedition in the Caribbean and had stopped at Roanoke on his way back to England. Seeing the dire situation of the colonists, he offered them passage back home. The decision to abandon the settlement was not taken lightly, but the colonists saw no other option. They left behind their dreams of a new life in the New World and returned to England, their hopes dashed but their lives spared. Despite the hardships and ultimate failure of the first Roanoke colony, The dream of an English settlement in the New World persisted. The initial attempt had been fraught with challenges, from hostile interactions with indigenous peoples to the harsh and unfamiliar environment. The settlers faced starvation, disease, and a lack of supplies, which ultimately led to the colony's mysterious disappearance. Yet, the vision of establishing a foothold in the New World was too compelling to abandon. Sir Walter Raleigh, undeterred by the previous failure, assembled a second expedition. Raleigh was a man of great ambition and vision, determined to see England expand its influence and territory. He believed that the New World held untold riches and opportunities, not just for personal gain, but for the glory of England. His resolve was unwavering, and he meticulously planned the new venture, learning from the mistakes of the past. This time, the focus shifted from mere exploration and resource extraction to establishing a permanent, self-sustaining colony. The new plan was comprehensive, aiming to create a community that could thrive independently. The settlers were to build homes, cultivate the land, and establish trade with the indigenous peoples. The goal was not just survival, but prosperity and growth. Families were recruited, along with skilled craftsmen and farmers, to ensure the colony's long-term viability. These were not just adventurers, but people with the skills and knowledge necessary to build a new society. Blacksmiths, carpenters, weavers, and farmers were among those who joined the expedition, each bringing their expertise to contribute to the colony's success. The inclusion of families also meant that the colony would have a sense of community and stability, essential for its endurance.
In 1587, a group of 115 colonists, including men, women, and children, set sail for Roanoke Island aboard the ships Lion, Red Lion, and a small pinnace. The journey was long and arduous, taking several weeks across the treacherous Atlantic Ocean. The settlers faced storms, rough seas, and the constant threat of disease, yet their spirits remained high, fueled by the hope of a new beginning. John White, an artist and cartographer who had accompanied the previous expedition, was appointed governor of the new colony. White was not only a skilled artist, but also a man of vision and leadership. His detailed maps and drawings provided valuable information about the New World, and his experience made him a natural choice for leadership. He was determined to succeed where the previous attempt had failed. White's leadership, experience, and determination were seen as crucial to the success of this second attempt at establishing a permanent English presence in the New World. He worked tirelessly to organize the settlers, allocate resources, and establish relations with the indigenous peoples. His goal was to create a thriving community that could stand the test of time.
The second voyage was a bold endeavor, filled with hope and anticipation. The settlers were not just seeking a new life, but were part of a grand vision to expand the English Empire. They carried with them the dreams and aspirations of a nation, and their success or failure would have far-reaching implications. As the settlers embarked on their journey across the Atlantic, they faced numerous challenges. The sea was unpredictable, and the threat of Spanish attacks was ever present. Yet, they pressed on, driven by the promise of a new land where they could build a better future for themselves and their descendants. Seeking a new life in a distant land, the settlers arrived at Roanoke Island with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. They knew the challenges that lay ahead but were determined to overcome them. They set to work building homes, planting crops, and establishing a community. The dream of a permanent English settlement in the New World was within their grasp, and they were ready to seize it.